Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to day 25 of our look at our favorite rock guitar teams of all time. That's right. We've been doing this each and every day here in October, 31 days of October, 31 of our favorite guitar teams. Guitar teams could be two or more guitar players in a band making some sweet music. They could all be lead players, or maybe you got a great rhythm player, another one's a great rhythm player, two or three amazing lead players, whatever the combination might be. We're looking at our absolute favorites, our 31 favorites. There's a lot more than that, I'll tell you, because the more as we go through the month, the more I'm like, oh yeah, how about that combo? How about that combo? So yeah, there will be some honorable mentions at the end. As for today's pick, many of you have already picked this duo quite a number of times during the month, and I've seen your comments, and I'm like, yeah, they're coming. This duo, this band from Seattle, burst on the scene in the early-ish 80s, right? 1983 or so, right? With an EP that took the world by storm, the heavy metal world by storm, and throughout the rest of the decade into the early 90s, the level of excellence was really high up there. Not only for their amazing, incredible lead singer, but for two guitar players that worked really, really well together. Sadly, this duo are not playing together anymore because one of them moved on from the band in the mid-90s. But the band is Queensryche, Michael Wilton, and Chris DeGarmo. Yeah, here you have the EP, right? Queen of the Reich, Knight Rider, Blinded, The Lady Wore Black. For those of you who were around and listening to metal back in the early 80s, I don't know if you remember when this EP first came out, but the first thing that hit me was that voice of Jeff Tate. I was like, holy crap, listen to this guy. Because at the time, you know, we had Bruce Dickinson, we had Rob Halford, we had Ronnie James Dio, who were like the elite in the heavy metal world. And then this guy comes along and it's like, whoa, there's a new player on the scene, folks. But right after you get past how amazing the vocals are, you start to listen to these really intricate weaving guitar parts and these really cool kind of proggish but metal riffs, and you're like, wow, these two cats can really play guitar, man. They sound really good together, right? Kind of taking that Priest and Maiden framework and giving it a little bit of a spin up in the technicality just a little bit. We heard that quite a bit on their debut full length, The Warning, right? Very sci-fi prog metal. You know, at the time, really, we didn't really have something called prog metal at the time. You had, the Queensryche and then Fate's Warning also doing this much more complicated, very mathematical and high-tech type of heavy metal, thinking man's heavy metal with this, these amazing vocals and these very intricate songs with lyrics about, sci-fi and fantasy and horror and all sorts of things. So, The Warning, another amazing album. Enforcer, Deliverance, No Sanctuary. So Take Hold of the Flame was kind of the big, hit here. Great guitar solos on these albums. Very, very melodic. That's the one thing about these two guys. They were really, really, really good players, but they tended to not overplay. There were really no lengthy solos on these albums, but very, very meticulous, melodic heavy metal and hard rock guitar solos that were just absolutely perfect for the song. Each guy complemented themselves so well. They did a lot of the kind of unison dual harmony things at times, right? Taking their cue from both Maiden and Priest and Thin Lizzy and Wishbone Ash and whatnot, but doing it in a much more technical aspect, which was kind of cool. So yeah, The Warning, another great album, of course. They kind of transition a little bit for Rage for Order, okay, which has a lot of different elements to the music here, a little more artsy, right? Maybe not as headbanging as the first two releases here, but, Walk in the Shadows, I Dream in Infrared, Gonna Get Close to You, right? Just really, I remember the time I heard that, I was like, wow, that's kind of different. Surgical Strike, Screaming in Digital, really cool stuff there. And then, of course, their magnum opus comes out a few years later, Operation Mindcrime, one of the great heavy metal concept albums of all time, if not the greatest. Once again, soaring melodies and vocal harmonies from Tate, heavy songs, lighter songs, absolutely mesmerizing lyrical content, which of course, foreshadows lots of things that we've seen in the world since. some songs that stand out on their own, but an album that really needs to be taken as a whole. Of course, you've got Revolution Calling. The title track is amazing. Mission, Sweet Sister Mary, Breaking the Silence, I Don't Believe in Love, the unforgettable Eyes of a Stranger. At the heart of it, of course, you got the great rhythm team, right? But you got those swirling, guitars, just absolutely mesmerizing, and that voice over the top. They would have one more really, really big album, which was Empire, which I think took everything that they had built on till then and brought it even more to the masses, because, here, of course, you got the Silent Lucidity, which is, again, this very common around this time, late 80s, early 90s, where you had like a heavy band who puts out this lush ballad, which of course is really unlike anything else in their catalog, and you get all these people who were never fans of the band before, all of a sudden, wow, this band is so great. They go buy the album like, oh, yeah, the rest of the album's not quite like that. No, it's not. But yeah, I mean, here you got, Jet City Woman, of course, Another Rainy Day Without You, Anybody Listening, title track. Again, at the heart of it all, these really cool riffs. This band was never too heavy, but just heavy enough. Really melodic all the way through. And again, at the heart of it, these two guitar players. And, let's mention, of course, Chris DeGarmo, one of the main songwriters in the band as well. Very, very key to the early success of the band. And then on Promised Land, which was their last album of, to me, the last really, really strong album before Chris DeGarmo leaves. Of course, he would appear on subsequent releases, but and one full time and then one in limited capacity. But this is the last album where you really have the two full contributions on a really, really solid record from Wilton and DeGarmo. And I like Promised Land. This, unfortunately, though, it's like the complete opposite of this, where this was like really, really kind of commercial and accessible. This is not quite at all, but I like it for it. It's dark, it's moody, it's complex, it's kind of bleak sounding, but I Am I, title track, Lady Jane, of course, Someone Else. Oh, you're thinking, I don't really know any of those songs. Right, that's the whole thing. Promised Land was kind of like not an album full of like, more commercial hit type material. This is more kind of like the moody, underappreciated stepchild in the early Queensryche catalog, but a very, very solid one, I think. But this would be the last kind of gasp for the band, because they would struggle for many, many years. Now, of course, they have retooled with Todd La Torre on vocals after Jeff Tate left the band, and they've had numerous guitar players working alongside Michael Wilton, founding member, who is still in the band. Right now, Mike Stone is back in the band once again. This is his second stint in Queensryche, and they're still putting out really, really good albums that kind of bring you back to the great stuff of the '80s and the early '90s. But yeah, the guitar team though that will never be surpassed in Queensryche, of course, is the first Michael Wilton, Chris DeGarmo. One of the greats, and that's they were just one of the many things that make these albums so good. So that is my pick for guitar team of the day. Michael Wilton and Chris DeGarmo of Queensryche. Let us know what you think of these two guys down in the comments below, as well as your pick for day 25 here, as we are making our way through the end of the month before we move into Appreciating the Ladies in November. So thanks for watching. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube, all together, all the damn time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and click on that notification bell. We also have the links below to our Ko-Fi page for channel donations, as well as our merch page, where you can get absolutely awesome Sea of Tranquility shirts just like this and many others. Boy, the post-nasal drip is really killing me this morning. So anyway, that's what happens when you record really, really early in the morning. So thanks for watching, everybody. Stay tuned for more stuff here on the channel. We got In the Proxy coming at you tonight. Tomorrow is new release day, new album review days. I'm hoping I'll have Stephen Reed joining me for an episode where we're going to be talking about some stuff that he's checked out. I hope to get you the new Dead Daisies, as well as the new Cult, right? Maybe one other. It's going to be a little light because I'm on vacation this weekend, even though that usually means I have more time. I was away all last weekend and really haven't had a lot of time to listen to a lot of the other stuff here that I need to. We got new Stradivarius, we got new Alice Cooper live, Steve Hackett live, new Frank Zappa live release, Vanden Plas and Pelletieri. What else is here? Man, all sorts of stuff. New Motorpsycho. So yeah, there's plenty here to listen to and hopefully bring you reviews over the next couple of weeks. So lots to keep me busy. So thanks for watching. I am Pete Pardo. Have a good one. We'll see you all tomorrow morning with another of our favorite rock guitar teams of all time. Thanks. Bye bye.